Hey guys, it's Sarah from Canadian Victory Garden. It is early May, so let's do a little garden tour and see what's come up and what's going on so far. So we've planted rhubarb last year and it is doing really nicely this year. We did not harvest anything from it last year to allow the roots to really get strong. Right beside the rhubarb, we have a plant called Bloody Dock growing, which is a salad green that is a perennial. So it is coming back again this year, and my family likes it when it's smaller leaves, but you can eat the larger leaves as well. And I think you can also saute with like spinach, so it's just a nice colorful option to add in. There's not too much going on in this bed yet, except for the garden sorrel, which is another perennial leaf vegetable that you can put in salads, or people have a soup recipe that's really good with garden sorrel. So just another way to get something out of the garden as early as possible. So sometimes I just leave plants in because I'm not sure if they're going to come back as perennials or not. So lemon balm is definitely a perennial. It's part of the mint family and it makes nice iced tea in the summer. Right beside it, we had an oregano that obviously has not decided to come back yet. I won't pull it out just yet. I'm not sure. It might just be a little bit too cold for that oregano yet. And it looks like I missed an onion over in that corner. This bed had mostly brassicas in it, so we'll rotate that crop. In the middle here is hyssop, which is an attractor for pollinators. It'll have really nice little flowers on it. So that's another perennial. And that might be a big weed. I'm not really sure. I have to double check before I pull anything because I'm never sure what I planted. There's some more nice garden sorrel. We have two plants. I think I started one from seed and I bought one as a plant. So I believe this is the one that I bought as a plant, which is why it's a little bit bigger than the other one. And here's a surprise return, some golden oregano, which I think is supposed to be a Mediterranean herb. So I'm not really sure why it's come back in Canada, but cool. And there's some volunteer lettuces coming up on the end down here. If you let your lettuces go to seed, they will reseed the garden bed and you will get new lettuces that you didn't have to plant, and you don't have to worry about transplanting and hardening off and all of that hard stuff because they just come up when the temperature is right. We have had this bed covered with a road cover, so it is a little more protected from frosts. There's another lemon balm on the side, and it looks like, yep, it looks like the sage, the garden sage, is also going to be a perennial coming back there. There's one more thing down on the end that I'm expecting to come back, but I don't see any yet. Oh, maybe here's some. Yep, we've got some right here, and that would be our German chamomile, which does self-seed really, really aggressively, but I don't mind because it also kind of provides a little weed killing. Here, this one, probably this one, and we'll probably have a ton of little volunteers all over the place at the edge of the bed here. So we'll see what happens. It's still quite early. Oh yeah, I see another little one over here. And I'm okay with it because it'll push out the weeds. This is not even actually in the bed. This is another one that really heavily self-seeds. This is Chervil, which is just a less common herb, I guess. I don't even remember what we use it for. I think we had a specific recipe and we're just like, sure, let's try this guy out. And then the rest of the bed is taken up with our garlic that we planted last fall. We did plant that in the fall, right? Yeah, fall. So looks awesome, lots and lots of garlic. This is one of two garlic beds we have growing. Can you do the other garlic bed? Look at this guy. I'm gonna grow without actually even being in the ground. I don't know how things like this happen, but apparently this garlic, despite not being in the ground at all and attached by like basically two roots, has decided it's going to grow here. So I will try to put that back in the garden bed with all of its friends today. And then also in this bed we have some tansy, which is great for pollinators and attracting beneficial insects, and those kale that you just can't seem to kill, which is good for us because we eat a lot of it. Give it to the dogs, put it in pretty much everything. It's always nice to see green stuff, isn't it? So in this bed, I don't even remember. I think this is going to be tomatoes and peppers and things like that in the summer. But right now I've just got some spring crops covered in little cloches that we made out of creamer containers. And it's mostly bok choy and lettuces. It's just a bit of an experiment. It's hard to, figure out when these are appropriate to use and when they need to be taken off. But I did kind of at the same time plant some bok choys right into the soil with no protection, and they don't seem to be doing well. So despite the fact that these leaves are a little yellow, as if maybe it's a little bit too intense inside of the plastic, and there's a lot of condensation, I think it's something that is definitely an experiment we will continue to work with and see if we can get a good crop out of. Oh yeah, this lettuce looks nice. So I guess perhaps it also depends on what you've got under the cloche. Maybe not bok choy, but maybe lettuce. Now I've lost these things because they're the same color as the straw. We had to put little legs on our cloches. Thanks, Mom. Because it's so windy here, they just kept blowing away. Dun, 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 step up in the hole. I did have a parsley growing here, and we have had parsley come back in the past, but apparently I think it was in a flat Italian parsley and it did not come back. So I guess I have a new plant marker to use for something else. So this was another experiment for us. We had covered this bed in the fall with a row cover and planted a bunch of cold weather crops such as lettuces, spinach, arugula, carrots, bok choy. And now that we've got it uncovered and it's early May, I see that we have a lot of those things coming back or regrowing. For example, I'm not sure if these lettuces were seeds that I had planted in the fall or if they are sort of volunteers that came from self-seeding, because we did have lettuces kind of everywhere in all of the garden beds last year. But regardless of that, we have lettuces coming up all over the place here, a couple different varieties, and I can see that our peas are coming up now too, which is awesome. We can start getting our pea trellises in place probably in about a week. Lots of weeds I need to weed out. Don't look at those. I think this is arugula or possibly a weed. I'm not sure at this point. I will find out though. And over on that side are carrots that had started growing in the fall and then kind of went dormant over the winter and have started growing again. So I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to harvest carrot seeds this year, or at the very least get like an early crop of carrots for us, which is exciting. And then way down the bed here, I have a bunch of spinaches that had been growing, that we had been eating from, that we planted more of, that we let go to seed. This is Olympia spinach, and this is like the best spinach that we've had in this area. We've tried a couple of different varieties in the spring and then again in the fall, but this like is just extremely prolific, and our family loves spinach, so we could probably eat all of this tonight, honestly. I'll try to exercise some restraint. And that's about it. I could probably throw some radish seeds in here too. I don't see any radishes coming up. I do see lots of dandelions, so I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for tuning in, checking out what's growing in our garden this spring, and we'll check in with you in a couple of weeks and see how things are going. Bye.